Thursday Night Football. Saints at the Cardinals. Cardinals 2.5-point favorites, even though they are, to use your favorite term, sucky ducky. I don't know what this says about the Saints, that they're 2.5-point underdogs against the pathetic Cardinals. 43.5 over under. Chris, who do you like?
Well, I do think it's a very even, close football game. You know, the one thing that I think saves the Cardinals, and we discussed this morning a little bit on PFT, is just the Cardinals' defense is real. It really is. I love the Cardinals' defense. You know, they don't have the most imposing front four, and because of that, at times they, you know, maybe do some crazy stuff at the line of scrimmage to get pressure on the quarterback, and that could get them burned just every now and then. Like even last week, for a perfect example, Kenneth Walker, you know, he had 91 yards rushing. Like 70 of them were on like 3 carries. And then the other like 18 carries were for like no yards. It was like he got tackled at the line of scrimmage. But because they don't have a great pass rush all the time, sometimes they do some crazy stuff to create the pressure. It's the Cardinals' offense that's the issue. We know that. The Saints' defense not as good this year. Definitely not. You know, they have moments of being stout, but they have an issue with the big plays. But they're playing an offense that I don't really think capable of a lot of big plays. And I favor the Saints just because of this one reason. Because I think the Saints have an offensive line, even without Andrews Pete tonight, that's pretty damn special. And they got the run game rolling right now. And I do think that with the Cardinals, with the people at the line of scrimmage at times, and this offense and how they're coached and the quality of that offensive line, I'm going to say that's enough to give them an advantage in DeAndre Hopkins' first game of the year. I'm going to go Saints 20-17.
Okay. You're taking the Saints or the Cardinals? You're talking about DeAndre Hopkins giving them an advantage. Who are you taking?
I know. I'm saying this that I know that DeAndre Hopkins could give the Cardinals some advantages tonight, but I'm still taking the Saints.
But
I am.
Still, I
yes,
got it.
Gotcha.
I got it.
Sorry, I don't know if I said there.
I was trying to bait you into taking the Cardinals because I got the Saints 23-20. I just don't get it with the Cardinals right now. I really don't. I know they've won 2 games, and I know they still are charter members of the National Football League. We're not going to relegate them to the CFL, but I just don't believe, and I feel like in this desperation moment, we talked about this earlier today on PFT Live, both teams 2-4. You fall to 2-5 before Halloween, you're pretty much
yeah.
I'm sorry. I got one more
at
left.
the drive-thru.
Yeah, and that's it. At 2-5, I know there's 17 games now. You know, you're going to have to get very hot to overcome a 2-5 start and get to the postseason. So this is not quite official elimination, but it's pretty damn close to it if you lose this one. And I think the Saints will muster something in this one. Cardinals, having lost 8 in a row at home, at some point they're going to win another home game. But I can't imagine the crowd is going to be all that friendly and favorable. I think at some point we're going to start seeing the empty seats. If not that, we're going to see bags on heads eventually for people that go to Cardinals games. And I think it's safe to say that we will not extend to 3 for 3 the years of the team hosting the Super Bowl, playing in the Super Bowl, because the stadium we see tonight is where Super Bowl 57 will be played. Okay,
you hit it, Mike. The Saints. I mean, the Cardinals' offense stinks, and I didn't hit on that enough, but it stinks. It's just they're not. We
spent a lot of time talking about that. Anybody out there wants to know
there
more?
You go.
Listen to the PFT Live podcast.
That's
we spent 20 minutes talking about how bad.
We spent the first 40
is.
minutes of the show today breaking that game down, so they can get even more in depth.
How did we muster? It's funny. Once we start talking, and I think this is part of the magic of the relationship, we can muster 40 minutes out of anything. If we can muster 40 minutes out of Saints Cardinals, we can talk about anything for 40 minutes. Although we did spend the first 7 minutes talking about the deep state conspiracy in the U.S. government as part of the Kennedy assassination, and in PCR 6 as part of the disappearing trash can after you pour milk and or water in it the day before. All right.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.